Hook, have you ever been told you can't enjoy something you built with your own two hands? Imagine this: you buy land, you create a lake, you build your dream. And then someone who never lifted a finger tells you that you're breaking the rules. That was my life when the HOA called the cops on me the very first time I launched my boat on my own lake. What they didn't know was that 10 minutes later, I would end up owning their entire marina. This is not just a story about boats or property lines. It's about standing your ground, turning humiliation into triumph, and proving that no one owns your happiness except you. When I first bought my little piece of paradise, I wasn't looking for trouble. I just wanted peace. After years of grinding at a corporate job, sacrificing weekends and holidays, I finally had the chance to create a sanctuary. The land had an old quarry on it, nothing but a hollow pit that most people overlooked. But I saw potential. Over the course of 2 long, back-breaking years, I invested everything into reshaping it into a sparkling lake. I planted trees, built docks, and even crafted a small boathouse. The first day I finally slid my modest fishing boat into the water, I felt like I was launching my heart into that lake. Every shovel of dirt, every late-night blueprint had led to this. My family was there, cheering. I could feel years of exhaustion melt away. And then, the sirens. At first, I thought it must have been some kind of mistake. But 2 squad cars rolled up, lights flashing, and out stepped officers who looked as confused as I was. The officers explained that the HOA had called in a complaint. Unauthorized boating in a community waterway. My stomach dropped. Community waterway. I repeated, almost laughing at the absurdity. This is my lake. I dug this thing with my own money. This is private property. But the officers had to do their job. They told me the HOA president had insisted I was violating neighborhood rules by creating traffic on the water. The president herself showed up moments later, smug and self-righteous. She looked me up and down as though I were some reckless teenager. You can't just do whatever you want, she sneered. This isn't your personal amusement park. I tried reason. Ma'am, this land is mine. I own every inch of it. You don't get to tell me I can't use my boat here. But she waved me off and pressed the cops to ticket me. My kids were watching, their smiles fading, and I felt humiliation burning in my chest. It wasn't just about the boat anymore. It was about someone stepping into my life and acting like my blood, sweat, and years of work didn't matter. The officers eventually realized it was a civil matter and left. But the damage was done. The HOA had publicly embarrassed me in front of my family and neighbors. That night, as I sat staring at the lake I built, I made myself a promise. They will never make me feel small again. What I didn't know was that opportunity for payback was just around the corner. And it would change everything. The very next week, I learned something interesting. The HOA didn't actually own a lake. They leased space at a nearby marina where residents kept their boats. That marina had been struggling for years, barely keeping afloat financially. The owner had been trying to sell but couldn't find a buyer willing to take on the debt and upkeep. It clicked in my head like lightning. If I could buy that marina, the HOA would have no power over me. I'd have power over them. I made some calls, checked the numbers, and realized it was within reach. Risky, yes, but worth it. Within 10 minutes of finalizing the deal with the desperate marina owner, the ink was dry. I didn't just own a lake anymore. I owned the very place where ethical HOA members stored their boats. That evening, I walked down to the marina office, papers in hand. The same HOA president was there, chatting loudly with her friends. When she saw me, she smirked, until I dropped the documents on the desk. Starting today, I said calmly, I own this marina. The silence was electric. She blinked, stunned, and I could see her pride shatter in real time. Her friends exchanged awkward glances. From then on, the HOA had no choice but to play nice. They still tried to push back, but the tide had turned. Their complaints about my lake stopped cold. And as the new marina owner, I made sure things were run fairly. No favoritism, no petty power games. But the most powerful moment came a few weeks later. I took my kids out on the lake again, the same boat gliding peacefully across the water. No cops. No angry neighbors. Just us. My daughter whispered, "Daddy, you won." And she was right. Not because I owned more property, or because I beat the HOA at their own game, but because I showed my kids that you don't let bullies decide your joy. When life corners you, you find a way not just to push back, but to stand taller than ever before. Closing message. So, when the HOA called the cops on me for launching my boat, they thought they'd humiliate me. 10 minutes later, I owned their Marina. And in that moment, I realized something powerful. No one can take away what you've built if you refuse to bow down. This isn't just about a lake or a marina. It's about owning your story, even when others try to rewrite it for you.